So I need to put this on, right?
Yes, sir.
Let's see if I can do this. All right, is it broadcasting?
Yes.
Okay. So hi, Rhonda. Hi, Scott. And I don't know if there's anybody else there. But so good to see you. Glad you're here. So tonight we'll talk about Arya Nagarjuna. We'll talk about his text, the Mulya Madhyamaka Karika. So wisdom, or a song on the root of the middle way. And so this text is a commentary on an auto-commentary, which means a commentary on your own work. So an earlier text that he wrote, a seminal text, is called the Mula Prajna, the root of wisdom. So this text is a commentary on that. And Arya Nagarjuna is writing. I'm Cliff Spencer, by the way. We've all introduced each other. But so Arya Nagarjuna, his writing, is the core of middle way philosophy, the core of the highest school of thought in Buddhism, the highest understanding of emptiness in Buddhism. Okay, so whenever you hear, the Dalai Lama teaches on Arya Nagarjuna, whenever you hear the highest explanations of emptiness, it is getting its source material from Arya Nagarjuna's writing. Okay, so he, in a sense, the middle way begins with Arya Nagarjuna, and then many other great commentators along the way commentated on his text and expanded upon it and elucidated it, and which is a tradition which is still going on today. People are still writing about it and doing their own translations, and we're talking about it here. So you see, we're part of this living tradition of trying to understand the middle way philosophy and put it into practice. So this text we have here is coming from, I have copies for you here, and we also are projecting it. If you're able to send them the links, there are two links. You can download the text, and there's a meditation that goes along with it. So you have the paper in front of you, and I wanted to put it on a projector, put it on the wall, so you can look at it, so we can go through the verses. There's 16 verses. Okay, 16 verses tonight, and hopefully we'll get through them. But you have it in your hand, and you have it on the wall, so you can look at it. You can slow your mind down and look at it as we go through it, and read it slowly as we go through it. This is not a walk in the park. Okay, this is not simple business. Okay, this is really in. With studying Arya Nagarjuna, studying the root of the middle way, you are really, with a fine microscope, you are investigating reality. We are investigating how anything is possible. We're taking a microscope from the 10th power, or the first power, is how a microscope works, and then going finer and finer and finer, and reducing and reducing and reducing and reducing. Okay, Arya Nagarjuna is like the great negator. We spend all our time, our minds are habituated to prop things up. Okay, to conceptualize things, to make formations of things, right? So you see a person. Hi, how you doing? Good to see you, Lily. Come on in. So Lily and Michelle, sister?
Yes.
Nice to meet you. So we're just getting started. We're just talking about the author and the text. So, so where was I? So we prop things up. We create things, right? We get attached to things. So we see a person. We see, a person walks in the room, and we immediately begin to form an image of that person for ourselves, a conceptualization of that person for ourselves, right? And then we meet them. Then we meet them and talk to them, and then we say, "Oh, well, they're not quite what I thought." And immediately we're forming another conceptualization of them, okay? And then they say something that kind of upsets us, and they say, "Well, that's not what I thought you were. That's not who I thought you were." And then we have a new conception of them. But you see, our mind continually wants to grasp onto something real. Our mind continually wants to grasp onto something that it seems like that is there, that is tangible out there, okay? And Arya Nagarjuna helps us to. He pulls the rug out of each one of those conceptions, each one of the layers of conceptions, okay? Because, let's go to the first verse. Because as he says, first of all, he bows down to his teacher. He bows, who in this case, he's calling his teacher Manjushri, okay? Manjushri is like the image of wisdom, the Buddha of wisdom, the form that wisdom takes, okay? The form that the wisdom of an enlightened being takes is Manjushri. And so you can think about all your wisdom and if all your wisdom could have a shape, could have a form, could have an image, that's Manjushri, okay? And so my Manjushri has some cuts and bruises and doesn't look so good, wears tattered clothes and everything, but sometimes when I do really well, he starts to look better and better, right? And starts to look, like an enlightened being or something. But what does an enlightened being looks like? There's no real, self-existent enlightened being, right? So he says, of all the fully enlightened guides, I bow myself down to the highest one, the one who teaches us the peace that is the final end of all elaboration. So elaboration is this thing that we're talking about, the consistent reifying of things, right? Applying concepts and grasping to them. The one who teaches us the way that everything arises linked together in dependence. Okay, so he's putting forth his position here. The core of his position is saying that there is peace comes from stopping the way the mind grasps to things as real. And the way to get there is to learn that everything arises, everything exists interdependently. Everything exists in relation to another. Okay? So nothing starts, nothing stops, nothing lives on, and nothing ever dies. Nothing comes and nothing goes. Nothing is different. Nothing is the same. Okay? So that little verse there is laying out like the next 50 chapters. Okay? So let's go on to the next verse. So now, so we got 16 verses, right? The first 4 or so are probably the toughest, is where we have to kind of roll up our sleeves the most, okay? And I just want you to, I want to suggest the atmosphere for engaging in this stuff, okay? You need to keep a playful mindset. You need to keep a relaxed mindset, okay? We're at play here, trying to bring up these ideas and be in the ring with these ideas. Be in the ring with Arya Nagarjuna. See? Like this is an exploration. This is an experiment. This is a happening. Okay? So try to stay with Arya Nagarjuna in this as we go along. Okay? And if you don't understand it, you're gonna get confused. Okay? You're all gonna look at me like you're gonna do this. you know, and you're going to do this, drowsy, or a myriad, a lot of different things, okay? But try to stay with it and be a part of the process, okay? Even if you walk out of here and you're like, I don't know, I maybe understood one thing of it, okay? That's good. That's fine. You stuck with it, and you stayed in there, and you tried. And trying to grapple with this stuff is extremely powerful and extremely important, extremely helpful, okay? Because if we could, why is it helpful? Because if we could put a wrench, drive a stake in this process of elaboration that we do, this grasping that we do, we would stop problems. We would stop mental afflictions. We would stop anger, frustration, doubt. We would put a wedge in the things that hurt. Okay? And so that's Arya Nagarjuna's intention, is to give us a way, an opportunity to give us the tools to try to put a wedge in the machine of suffering, the machine of pain and problems. Okay? And so, you know, like, do this, be playful, stay in the ring, okay? And the effect of this should give us like a little bit more fluid in the joints. The effect of this should make us like a little looser, okay? So that when you have difficult things happen, and they will, when difficult circumstances happen, you remember what Arya Nagarjuna was giving you, and you're a little bit more looser with it, you know? You know, I got that difficult person walking in the room right now. You know, it seems like they're gonna do what they do, which is give me a hard time. It seems like I'm gonna do what I do with this person, which is get my hackles raised and get annoyed just by the sound of their voice. But I know from Arya Nagarjuna that they can't really be that way. They don't really have any kind of essence d'irritation. That's what I'm upset about, the essence d'irritation. You know, that's what we get upset about. If there was an essence d'irritation, then we should smack it. We should grind it out, right? If there's really an essence d'irritation, then we got to get rid of it. But what we find, however, is that essence d'irritation is unfindable. It's not findable. The thing we think is there ain't. Now, just to be real, okay? Just to be real with you, and to put it on the line, while we're talking about this, while we're investigating reality, while we're saying that the essence d'irritation is not findable, is not there, New York Times reports that physicists over in Geneva at the Hadron Collider are they're in some fluorescent rooms right now. Teams of them are crunching numbers. All these physicists are crunching these massive amounts of data to find something called the Higgs boson or something. I don't know how to pronounce it. Higgs, I'm pretty sure that's Higgs. B-O-S-O-N, I'm not sure. Boson. It's like Shakespeare's Boson. Anyway, so they're in the massive particle collider, they are, and this, I looked up this story, and there, in the online versions, there are links to other related stories. This same headline has been like going for years and years back. Physicists are really close to finding the Higgs boson. Physicists are really, really close to finding the Higgs bosons. Physicists are really, really, really close to finding the Higgs boson. So Higgs boson is this, from what I understand, is an irreducible material, is an irreducible particle. They say, and I quote from the New York Times, like some sort of cosmic molasses that exists such that other particles pass through it and gain mass and heft by passing through it. And so thus is the formation of further matter and mass. Okay? So if this, and they assert that if this molasses, cosmic molasses exists, it must have its own quantum particle, and that is the cornerstone of all modern physics and theory. That is current and has been. It's called the standard equation, standard mathematics or something. Anyway, but so they're trying to find the cornerstone of their thinking. Okay, but they are trying to be so. But so far they haven't found it. It has eluded them. They can't actually find that irreducible particle. And so we agree. Buddhists say there is no irreducible particle. Okay, there is only there is only interdependence. Okay, so no irreducible particle. So we're investigating this right now, while they're investigating this over there. And we have to, so we really got to do our effort, our work. We really got to search, And if we really do a good job, really do a thorough search analysis, then they should listen to us. If they do a really thorough search and they find a particle, they find it, the essence de cosmic molasses, then we should give up this. We should be willing to give up this, right? Because if the essence to irritation exists, we got to get rid of it. We got to do something about it. Okay? So you're right there with those people those physicists in Geneva. Okay? So in the ring, have fun. Try. What else? So let's just keep going. Oh, so we're on verse 1 already. Okay, loosen the joints, right? Getting some freedom here. You're getting a little bit more freedom. You're getting a little purchase on a little more ease, a little more freedom, a little more happiness. Okay? So it is not from itself, and it's not from something else. It is not from both together, and it's not without a cause. Nothing at all could ever start in any way at all. Okay, so what we got here is, so Arya Nagarjuna is bringing up 4 possibilities for ways things could come about, ways things could arise, 4 things that things could arise from. Okay, 4 possibilities for arising. So existing things could come about in 4 ways. Number 1, they could come about from themselves. Okay, and these relate to schools of thought at the time. Okay, and we'll go over them quickly, and they also relate to the schools of thought are still in us, in our minds now. So either from themselves, 1, 2, either from another, 3, from both, or 4, from anything at all, for no reason. Okay, not without a cause. Okay. So let's see. The first one, from themselves. Okay, there's this idea. Take a seed and a sprout. Okay? The example of a seed and a sprout. Everybody knows what a seed is, right? And a sprout is, right? Okay. So the idea is of things coming from themselves is that we're talking about causes and results tonight. Okay? Right? Is everybody clear on that? Causes and results. And we're talking about causes and results in this, and in a particular sense, there's the idea that causes and results are separate things, separate existing things, and they're not the same thing. They're separate things, and they have a definable essence to them, an irreducible essence to them. Okay, a cause is something that brings about a result. Okay, let's see. A cause is something that has a nature of. A cause is something that has a nature that that, and its nature is that it has the power to bring about a result, to bring about its effect, and that power is its essential quality. Okay? So a cause is defined by something that brings about a result. Okay? But it's like the cause is something that has an essential quality of bringing about that result, an essence. Okay? And the result is this something that has an essential nature of being the result of that cause. Okay? Now, do you have like a mental image or an understanding of this thing, essence? Self-existent thing? Yes? No? Maybe? Okay, yes? Maybe? You're not convincing me, so I'm going to give you an example. So, let's see.
Something is nature? Not nature, but
Yeah.
nature of something.
The nature of something, that's another way to say it, but essence means an irreducible, unchanging, independently existing thing. It's not connected to it's not dependent on anything else. And it doesn't change. It's there. It has this essence independent of you or anything else. Okay? So what's this up here?
Clay with glaze.
Clay with glaze, cup, different things, okay? But just, so just watch yourself looking at it. Be aware of yourself observing the object. Be honest, is the object a part of you?
No.
It's out here, right? So there's this cup, right? And I don't see any connection between me and the cup, the object out there. I mean, except for the fact that I'm holding it, which is a connection. But my mind says there's this thing, there's a thing out there that is independent of me. And in fact, it's independent of anything. Like there's a cup, there's cupness there. Okay? Are you buying it? Not really?
Is this what's also called suchness?
Yes. Well, no, suchness is another word for emptiness, for the lack of self-existence, for the lack of an inherent nature to things.
What you're saying with the essence.
I'm just talking about, no, suchness, emptiness says that things have no self-nature to them, have no self-existent quality to them. Take the lamp, for instance. Like, just take your own perception. Like, we perceive an object out there in front of us, and it seems pretty clear. There is a lamp out there. There is an object out there. There is a part of my mind that says that exists whether I know about it or not. There's a part of me that believes, that asserts almost automatically, that says that's an existing thing in my world, and it's here whether I'm in the room or not. Okay? And we think about all things like that. We think about existing things like that. We posit a quality to them that exists independent of our perception, independent of anything else. It's just, it has its own existence. The chair, that's a chair. There are different chairs here, but each chair is a chair. It has its own existence, right? You don't see the chair and see this entire web of causality and interdependence such that there is no, quote, chair there. We see chair, right? So it's that part of our mind that sees the self-existent thing that gets us into lots of trouble. That sees the self-existence and believes in it, that gets us in a lot of trouble. Okay? Because we see that about people. We see people as having self-existent essences, qualities, and then when they don't live up to those, we get upset. Or when they change, when we really like their essences, but then they change, we get disappointed. And it goes for objects too, you know. My car is so great, you know, my big tank Mercedes is so great and fast, but then it breaks down and, you know, it's costing me all this money. It's not so great anymore. I get upset, you know. So essences, okay?
Can I,
Yes.
would you say that, are you trying to get at is how we conceptualize about something? Am I on the right track?
Well, yeah, I'm trying to say part of this process of studying Nagarjuna is being aware of your own mind, being aware of how your own mind grapples with things, the way your own mind conceptualizes things. Okay? So part of that is getting aware of how you see self-existent things, how your mind posits self-existence. It's called the gokja. Everybody in the ACI classes, you've heard of the term the gokja, the thing, the object we deny, the self-existent thing. Okay, but we posit it out there. Okay, so from themselves, the seed and sprout. Themselves meaning there's a school of thought that says the seed, the sprout. The sprout is already exists in the seed as a potential. Okay? So there's a seed, right? There's no sprout. Okay? Seed. Okay? They say that though there is an essence of the sprout that exists within the seed as a potential. So the sprout is really coming from itself. So results come from themselves. Okay? That's the first one. Itself, themselves. That's one. So Arya Nagarjuna is refuting this idea of causation. Okay? Second one says something else, comes from another. This one is saying, that the two are separate things. But they bear a relationship in that one makes the other possible. So they are separate things, and the nature of the sprout is not in the seed, but one makes the other possible. Okay? Another example for it is like a parent and a child, a mother and a child. So mother and child are not the same thing, right? Separate things, but one makes the other possible. So one comes from another. Okay? So it's not from itself, but Arya Nagarjuna says, no, it's not that way either. It's not from itself. And then from both together, there's this, the both together one is a mashup of the first two, saying that if you have, it's not that, it's not that the sprout exists as a potential in the seed. It's not that the sprout exists within the seed. Rather, the conditions for the sprout to exist, to result from the seed, depend on the conditions surrounding it. The appropriate conditions surrounding it, okay? The soil, the water, the fertilizer, etc. Okay? So it depends on both themselves, the seed, and the other conditions of it. Okay? And that one sounds pretty good to us. Right? To my mind, that one sounds like it makes pretty good sense. And then the third one, but we'll refute them all. But the third one, and then the fourth one says once the first three are refuted, it's kind of like a hands up in the air. It says, well then there's nothing then. It's like nihilism. It's saying like, well then everything's just random and things happen any which way they can. Any which way any which way at all. Okay? Now, so to refute these, we got to refute these. I told you 1 through 4, the first 4 verses or so are the thickest. We got to get through these. So how's everybody doing? Okay? Yeah. Everybody okay? Need to get up, jump around a little bit? Okay? So let's talk about from itself. So, so a cup, so if the cup, let's say if the cup came from itself, if a thing came from itself, if the sprout came from the seed, okay, then if the sprout was inherent in the seed, if the sprout was already there, there'd be no need for a seed. If the cup, right, the cup right here comes from the cup maker. If the cup maker makes the cup, but if the causes are within itself, if the cup came from itself, then there'd be no need for the cup maker. There'd be no need for a cup factory. The cup maker would have nothing to do. Okay? The cup would not need anything else because it makes itself. The sprout would not need the seed because it would make itself. The essence is already there. Okay, so it negates the need for a cause coming from itself. There wouldn't be two separate things. Like it'd be the same thing. Okay? So it doesn't add up. It doesn't work. Secondly, if the cup came from another, something outside of it, then what you're getting into a very sketchy area, saying that there are two distinct separate things. Mother, child, seed, sprout, cup maker, cup. They're two distinct entities, okay, with essences. When I say two distinct entities, that means they have essence. They have some irreducible quality to them, okay? You with me? Okay? So if you've got two separate essential things, how could one ever move to produce another? How could one ever change to produce another? The essence is something that doesn't fluctuate, that doesn't change. It's irreducible. Okay? So if the cup came from another, from something else, from something completely different, then one thing could come from something completely different from itself. Okay? So anything could make anything. So seeds could make Mercedes. Cups could make elephants. Anything could make anything. If something completely different, cup maker, could make, that has its own nature, could make another thing that has its own nature, there's no connection. They have two separate, indivisible, independent natures. There's no crossover. So if this could possibly make something, then it could make anything. Okay? And that's not the way it works. That's not the way it happens. So if the cup maker is entirely separate from the cup, then how could one ever move to produce the other? If you say one thing comes from another, you open up this problematic scenario where distinct, self-sealed entities are producing things. Okay? Distinct, self-sealed entities are producing things. Okay? Hold on one second. If you say something is really different, you mean it's really different. It's really separate. Okay? And that's how we do it, though. That's how our minds label things. We go, that chair is inherently different than that chair. And that chair. There are four distinctly, independently existing chairs right there, right? Our mind does that. Our mind throws that out. That's how we see, that's how we label objects. That's how we see objects. Independent, not connected. So how could something like this produce anything? And if somehow it could produce anything, since then it wouldn't be limited. Okay? Okay? All right, Michael.
I was thinking about paramecium.
That's little like microbial stuff?
Yeah, they divide. It's like they have exist within themselves. They replicate without
Uh-huh. That would be an example of the first one, right? Of the thing, the result being somehow existent in the cause.
Oh, it would be the energy.
So they'd be the same thing. Okay. It's like the paramecium. So the cause and the result are like the same thing. So when they split, when the paramecium divides, are they the same thing or are they different entities?
They're one and the same.
The two things, split, divide, go from one to become two. Are they the same thing or are they different things?
Separate.
Well, they're two different animals.
Boop. Okay, there, boom. That's it. That's as far as you need to go. It's not one thing. It's many things.
Right.
Okay, so that in and of itself says they're two separate things. It's not one thing.
I see.
So lastly, so now if we've just disproven the first one, it doesn't come from itself, and then it doesn't come from something else, then where can you go with the next one? It comes from both. We just established that it can't come from either one. So how would it come from both if neither one works? If neither one can really function to bring about a result? So the third one is just, you can just line it up and knock it right out because you've already defeated the first two. Okay? So the thing can't come, if the thing came from itself, there'd be no need for a process, for any process. There'd be no need for any splitting, any dividing, any change, because it's already there. Like, why would it ever divide? It's already there. There'd be nothing for it to do. It's already there. So, and then the second one, it comes from something else. How is it that two completely separately existing things can come together, can do anything, can come together to produce something else? Okay? So, and then the third one is the from anything at all is just like the hands up in the air saying, I guess nothing really matters. I guess nothing really exists at all. I guess it's just, everything is just random, right? And that's not correct either. And why? Because we experience causes and results. We experience results of causes, right? If things were random, then, this paper I'm holding could burst into flames, could become an airplane, could, envelop us in a giant bubble, whatever else you want to think. Okay? It's not that, but the things happen upon regularly, like occurring rules, like of causation. Things have causes and results seem to be related. Okay, next verse. Please, sir. Okay, now, causal and the object, ruler and the just proceeding. These are the four conditions, and none of them exist in the same way that there does not exist a fifth condition. Okay? So, this is a heady one. Remember I said just a few more, okay? Hang in there. So, these are four. So we talked about, the first one is like four causes, four ways causes could work. Now, Arya Nagarjuna is putting forth the four types of conditions through which things could arise. And again, these relate to schools of thought at the time as well. The four ways that things could arise. And he's saying that this is complete, exhaustive. There's not anything beyond this. Okay, there's no fifth. Okay, so number one, the causal condition. And in the reading here, so the reading here is translated and taught to me by Lama Marut. Okay, so FYI, he did the translations of this from the Sanskrit, and he wrote these descriptions here. This one is a little confusing, both in Lama Marut, the cause, he first addresses, the causal condition, and then the second type, the just preceding condition, but he skips over that the object. And then he does the ruler, and then he comes back to the object condition. And then in other commentaries that I studied, there was a little bit of shifting of the order too. So it's a little confusing, and so I'm going to go over it in the best synthesis that I can. But these are the four conditions, the grounds through which a thing could arise. So number one, the causal condition is the efficient cause for something to happen. Okay? Like fire causing smoke, or striking a match. The striking of the match causes the flame to be lit. Okay? So you have to use some props, visual aids to keep you excited, keep you going. So the causal condition or efficient condition. Okay? Efficient cause. Secondly, as Lama Marud describes it, the just preceding condition. The present moment of awareness now is preceded by the moment of awareness immediately before it. Okay? Or just the just preceding condition, like you're here in this room tonight because you walked in the door, and before that you were in your car, and before that you drove home, you came from your home or from work or wherever. Every single condition that leads up to the present moment are conditions, are the grounds through which now the moment, the object, can arise. Okay? So the first one is like this efficient cause, like A to B, action to result. The second that we're describing, the just preceding, is actually the last in this list. The just preceding is all the conditions around it, all the sort of the time lapse, the time sequence of events that lead up to now. Then he talks about the ruler condition as being related to any of the sense powers that rule over the consciousness of that power. So there's a difference between the eye faculty and the eye consciousness, we say. So the eyeball doesn't conceptualize. The eyeball is an organ, a sense organ that picks up colors and shapes. But that it's the eye consciousness that takes that data and conceptualizes person, Jenny. Okay? Person that conceptualizes cup. Okay? So it's like the sense data that is the condition of the sensory condition, that allows for the consciousness to arise. Does that make sense? So without sensory data, what would you have to conceptualize? Or without awareness? An awareness is considered a sense. Okay, your awareness of thoughts. So if you conceive of a blue mountain, your awareness of the mental image of a blue mountain in your mind is the conditions for you to perceive of a blue mountain. Okay? Yes?
But I don't at all understand the text. I understand the previous page, those two lines. Can you?
Well, that's what I'm talking. That's what I'm explaining. Causal and the object. So causal is striking the match and creating the fire. The object we haven't talked about yet. Ruler is the sense, like the sense perception governing the consciousness. And then just preceding is the conditions, the chain of events, the circumstances that bring you to the present moment of awareness. Okay? And then the next one, the object condition, or sometimes called the dominant condition, the object condition, Lammermoot simply says it's any existing thing that triggers a perception in the perceiver. Okay, so this is, quite simply, this is saying the condition for you to for a perception to arise is that there's an object out there for you to perceive. So it's saying that, like, the cup here, the cup the cup itself is the condition for me to perceive cup. It's in and of itself. Okay, so these are saying the conditions here have some self-existence to them. Can they see me when I'm over here? The camera is pointed.
It's on the actual text.
Okay.
It's just so dark.
Oh yeah, you can't even see it. Okay, so we got to get that spotlight, the follow spot with the operator up there, in the booth, and the cues, and okay. So the object condition is like the thing itself, telling us what it is. So Arya Nagarjuna is saying none of those exist, and he means none of them have a self nature to them. None of them exist in the way we think they do. In the same way that none of those exist, there's no other option. There's no fifth circumstance. There's no fifth condition. These four cover it all. Okay, in the same way, there does not exist a fifth condition. Okay, so how's everybody doing? Okay, so here's a little prop to wake us up, and we'll to explain this. Okay, see what is this? Who doesn't have a computer? What is this? What is this? Do I need to wake you up? See, what is this here? I'm not going to spray you because your computer right there. What is this?
It's water.
Water? I'll spray the camera. This is my spray bottle, my self-existent spray bottle. Okay, Michael, you need some? Little wake-up call. See? Right? Okay?
Water is a concept of what that is.
Well, here. Let's go through this. So let's go through the four with this, okay? So the question you're asking, the question that Kelly's asking is, why am I wet? Hey, why am I wet? Because Cliff just squirted me with water from his water bottle. Efficient condition, causal condition, right? Why am I wet? Because Cliff just squirted me. Okay? Right, just like the striking of the match. Right?
So that's the causal.
That's causal, an example of causal.
So what's the object?
Okay, hold on. No, we're gonna do. So you want to do object next?
Well, right.
So let's do object next. Okay. So what's the question? Why? So what's the question? I'm gonna keep. I hope you don't mind. You're right there though. Why am I wet? So the question is, why am I wet?
Because Cliff is squirting
Because there's water.
What?
Because there's water.
Because there's water on me.
Oh, okay.
Simple as that. What? It's like a baby. It's like a baby. I have a 1-year-old at home. Like, why am I wet? Because there's pee in my diaper. Oh. Like you got to have the pee in the diaper to say I'm wet. You got to have, water on the foot to say wetness. Right?
The differentiation between saying because he squirted me with water versus because I have water on my foot, that's why it's wet. What is the difference between those things relative to the text?
Because it's a different it's a different condition. It's a different arena. In which you make in which the conceptualization arises, in which the object arises. The object is I'm wet.
Okay.
The object is me is wet. Okay? So one it says I'm wet because he did it to me. Because he sprayed me with his water bottle.
But the he sprayed me is not the I'm wet.
No, the next one is a different arena that says, why am I wet?
Where did the wet come from?
Because there's water on me. That's why I'm wet, because there's an object. There's the object.
But didn't ask you how.
It didn't ask me how. It just says why. It's just, So then, next one, we go say ruler. The ruler conditioning is like, so,
I feel,
yeah, I feel, so I have a feeling of wetness. Very similar to the object condition, but different. You say I have a feeling, like, why am I wet? Because I have a feeling of wetness. The sense of touch, picks up the data of liquid, of wetness, and the consciousness, the sensory consciousness says, hey, that's water. Hey, you're wet. Right? So it's another arena, another ground, another set of a condition in which things arise. Okay? And then third, the just proceeding says what?
pull the trigger and use your hand, and then the water squirts out.
Yeah.
And then it hits my foot.
Yeah, because Cliff, say I have this image when I was preparing this that everyone's falling asleep and drowsy, and so because Cliff saw that you were drowsy, you were falling asleep, and so he picked up his spray bottle, which is in good working order, it's a working spray bottle, and squeezed the trigger, which put pressure on the suction mechanism, and a stream of water, shot out and hit you.
That's not just proceeding.
Yeah. That's like the progressive chain of events that
That's the ruler.
the ruler is the feeling. The ruler is the awareness, is the sensory awareness. Like my touch, sensory awareness. Okay, here's another ruler condition. Here's another ruler condition one. See, I got a lot of props up here, right? So ruler condition. So you have a sensory condition. You hear a noise.
That's the causal?
That the condition for you to say annoying loud noise is the sound that you pick up a sound, and then from picking up that sound you say that's a sound, and furthermore it's an annoying loud sound. I can't sleep in class with that sound. This is really disturbing. Okay?
I'm still trying to match things up with causal, ruler, and just proceeding, and object.
Yeah. Well,
I get what you're saying about,
Well, causal is I shake my hand. It makes a sound, right? Strike the match. Object is that there's the thing here. This is the conditions are right here. The shaker, the baby toy.
and you're the ruler?
No, the ruler is you. The ruler is your perception. The ruler is your sense perception ruling over your consciousness. See, it's your sense perception that hears this. When you hear this noise, you say, "Oh my God, that's a terrible noise." Loud noise.
So that's the judgment on it.
Or like this. Here's another example. There's a guy that works near me, down the street from me. I'm a woodworker. I have a furniture shop, furniture making, cabinetry. And I watch this happen every day. I hear his voice and I get annoyed. I get irritated. I get like every possible, list of the afflictions by the sound of his voice. So it's like the sensory consciousness. He didn't do anything that did one thing or another. The sound of his voice goes whoop. And, the senses hear the voice, the sound of the voice, and then the consciousness interprets that as so frustrating, so annoying, so full of it.
The judgment.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so,
Judgment is that in one of those four things there?
well, that's,
Causal, object.
it's in any of them. It could be in any of them. I mean, it's because these are the grounds through which conceptions arise. This is like the earth through which the sprout grows, okay? The different conditions, okay? And then the just proceeding is everything around it.
Is calm a flower in these four, or is calm both, or is it one of them? When you're talking about karmic causes, is that one of these four, or this is just, or that's how karma flowers in these four conditions?
It arises from these conditions. These are four ways in which results can arise.
And which results can arise? Okay.
Karma, don't say karma right now. Karma means the whole shebang. Karma means dependent origination. Karma means the whole process. Okay, so stick to causes and results. Okay, try to stick to causes and results. How can conditions bring about arisals? How can conditions make it possible for results to happen? Okay? So, spray bottle. So next verse. Thank you. If the nature of a thing, now this is a bit of a summary verse. He says, if the nature of a thing isn't found in its conditions, and the nature of a thing if it's not in its condition, if it's not in those four, and it doesn't lie within itself, then the nature of the thing couldn't be in anything else. Okay? So going back to those, so none of those, all those four conditions, okay? Arya Nagarjuna is saying that none of those four have any self-nature to them at all. Okay? There's no self-nature, there's no independent essence of the condition of the striking of the match. It's interrelated to me, the person striking the match. It's dependent upon the match working. It's dependent upon oxygen in the air. Okay? It's not independently occurring. Would you go back to the previous verse real quick? The object itself, the cup, has no or wetness, it has no essential nature to it as well that's saying cup to it, that's screaming out cup to it, such that we say it's a cup. If if another species, if a dog came to the room, if a bird came into the room, they wouldn't say, oh, that's a large teacup, that's a nice teacup right there, right? It has no essence of being a cup from its own side. The third one, ruler and the just proceeding, it's saying the sense consciousness, the senses are dependent upon other factors as well. There's no essential nature to the sense perceptions, right? Does your sense perceptions ever change?
Yes.
Does your eyesight change? There's no essential nature to it. If there's an essential nature to your eyesight, then it's fixed. It's not something that would shift or move or change. It's an essence. It's indivisible. Okay? So wipe out that condition.
Impermanence.
Yeah. So, and then the last one, the just proceeding, come on. There's nothing but interdependence and impermanence and interdependence in that scenario. How could you posit any self-existence to the myriad of circumstances that lead up to this moment? They're all relational. They're all interdependent. Okay? So none of those exist, essentially, as conditions through which results could arise, through which causes could bring about results. Next verse, please, sir. 1:5, so if it's not in the conditions, if it's not in the thing itself, which we proved in the previous verse, then the nature of a thing couldn't be in anything else. Then it's not in anything else. Okay, bye. Have a good rehearsal. So if the essence or nature of something, say this, go back to the seed and the sprout. The essence or nature of something, if it can't be found in what supposedly causes it, the seed, because if it did, it would already be there, would not need to be caused. And if the essence or nature of the sprout existed in itself, it wouldn't be caused. It wouldn't need to be caused. It wouldn't be if the essence was in the sprout itself. It wouldn't need to be caused by a seed. Okay. And there's no third possibility, he's saying. Okay? So here's another example with smoke. Fire and smoke. Okay? So fire is an efficient cause for smoke. Fire causes smoke. Okay? Can cause smoke. Generally speaking, fire causes smoke. So if the nature of smoke could be found in fire, then if the nature was already there in it, there'd be no need for fire to cause smoke, because smoke is already there. Okay, so smoke and fire would actually be the same thing. It'd be one thing. So one wouldn't cause the other. They'd be the same thing. And if the nature or essence of smoke existed in the smoke, existed in itself, then smoke would never need fire. Right? Because it's smoke, it's got all it needs. It's self-contained within itself. Okay? And additionally, it would never need fire, and then smoke would be anywhere and everywhere, independent of fire, or anything else for that matter. So there'd just be clouds of smoke here and there, appearing all over the place. You know, there happens to be a giant cloud of smoke over Cleveland today. There's no fire anywhere, but there's a cloud of smoke. Okay? So there's no third possibility. If there is a nature to a thing, it has to come from something else or already be present there in itself. All right? So remember, backtrack. In the ring here with Arya Nagarjuna, you're always looking for an essence. You're always looking for the self-existent thing. You're looking for the core of a thing, a self-existent cosmic molasses. Remember? Bring yourself back always to that self-existent thing, the lamp that exists out there, the cause that has some intrinsic essence to it. Okay? You always bring your mind back to like what the target is. Okay, next verse, please, sir. So
Can it be summarized up to this point as just he's setting the stage to say it's not what you might think it is, that things might be...
Yeah, what he's doing up to this point is bringing you, is taking away, is negating all the circumstances and possible formats in which results could occur, in which causes could bring about results. So he's taking away all the elaborations that we suppose happen, that we suppose that we use, that we suppose exist. He's taking all those away, so then we get to this essence, this core focus on causation, on causes and results. Now we're going to start talking about causes and results. Okay? So he brings us right to this point and says, okay guys, if something were to happen, then it must have a cause. There's no such thing as an event which doesn't have a cause. And consequently, there aren't any causes that don't involve events, results. Okay? Okay? So,
That's very accessible, that.
yes, good, yes.
Any other
Some of them
ruler and causal...
well, they depend on other information, don't they? You know, they depend on some explanation. Yeah, to say what ruler and cause and object condition is.
But so those words, the thing that's going on here is to say you need to see that events are from causes.
Mm-hmm.
That's what
He's saying,
down to thus far.
yeah, he's saying if things happen, there must be a cause to it.
Arises from it on its own.
Yeah. And then in
Origination, right?
what's that?
Is it also called dependent origination?
Yeah, we'll get to it. He's going to define for us very clearly like what he's saying dependent origination is by the end. He's going to bring us to that. So if something happens, there must be a cause to it. Okay? So look at it in forward and reverse, okay? A result, the cup, okay? A result provides the evidence that some energy was expended to bring it about. You see? The resulted thing, it's like provides the evidence that some energy was expended to bring that about. Okay? A result happens. A result is synonymous with working thing, changing thing, caused thing. Those are all synonyms in the Buddhist logic. So it was one thing and then changed into something else. The energy of the cause brought about the result. Okay? So the energy of the cause brought about the result. So now, as you prove this forward progression, you necessarily prove the reverse. Which is like, you talk about this in course 4. Maybe you haven't gotten to it yet, but the proof of future lives depends on this kind of causation, this kind of logic. The energy, let's see, as you prove this forward progression, you necessarily prove the infinite regress of causes and results. Okay, so the cause of the cup was itself caused by another cause. The cause of the cup was a result. Anything that is a result is also a cause. Anything that is a cause is necessarily a result. Okay? So nothing happens without a cause, and the forward and reverse progression shows us that also there are no causes that are not related to effects. But the cause, just to bring it up, but the process of cause and effect is not independently occurring either, okay? The process of cause and effect, too, is bound up in the web of causality, which is confusing to say, but if you do look at the infinite regress, the forward progression and the infinite regress, they all depend on, everything is dependent upon something else. There's no stopping point to that causal progression. So the process itself is dependent. Okay? So that should give you a little fluid in the joints right there. Everything is everything that is happening is resultant. Everything's moving. Everything is a progression of causes and results. Okay? So you're never stuck. When we get upset, when we have a hard time, when we're stressed, we feel trapped. We feel stuck. We have to fight. We have to break something. We have to do something in order to stop this problem. But it's all just happening. You know, we get in arguments and we say, "You're so stupid. If you just listen to me when I say that you're so stupid, you get it. You get what I'm trying to tell you." We yell at someone else as if the sound or volume of our voice could change their minds. Okay? But it doesn't work that way. There are a billion other, causes and results that are bringing us to that are in play at this moment, such that such that it can't work that way. Okay? Yes?
Does the progression imply that there's a beginning? Or is it
No.
infinitely progressive?
It's infinite. There's no stopping point. It proved there's an infinite regress of causes and conditions. But there's no vantage point where you say, and this is how it's happening. And this is who's in the, this is how the whole process of cause and effect is this is what the whole process of cause and effect is oriented around, this point. It's dependent upon who's perceiving the progression of the relation of causes and effects. You see, like I'm yelling at the person and I have a certain point of view of how causes and effects are working, of the situation. This mind on the other side, completely different. Okay? So me thinking that I can affect their reality by doing something, I can change their mind by doing is to think that my actions have some self-existent essence to them, some nature, and that being has some nature of being under my control, and ain't nobody that exists that way to us. Okay?
So every cause is an effect and every effect is a cause.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's a snake eating its tail.
Yeah. It's a kaleidoscope with no center. It's a continually changing kaleidoscope with no center. The center is relational to you perceiving it, to your perception of it. You see? So you can change, you can reposition, you can reorient, you can rewrite the past. You can change the past. You can change the future. Okay? Because there's no essential relationship between you and the past. There's no essential causal progression. Okay? If there was, it could never have worked in the first place. The causes and results could never have worked in the first place to get you where you are now. Causes and results just wouldn't work. So, I mean, the end of Nagarjuna's argument is saying it's the fact that there's no essence to thing that allows them to work. Dependent origination is made possible by emptiness. Okay?
So that's the part, I guess, is going to
Yeah.
because that's a hard
1-6. That's yeah. So it has to be a cause for it. So now 1-7. So wow, it's already 9 o'clock. 1-7. So causes and effects. And so if it's true that causes each possess their own events, they must be created in dependence on them, upon them, for the very reason we can even call them causes. Until the time the event starts, these things cannot be causes. But wait a minute, how can they not be? Okay? 1-7. So, causes and effects exist dependently in relation to each other. Okay? A cause is only a cause for something. A cause is only a cause for something once its effect has been brought about. You see, like the cause is defined by the result. Because if the resultant isn't there, what's it the cause of? And vice versa, the result is defined by the cause because that's what caused it. You can only say it's a cause after the fact that you have a result. Okay? Because you say that's the cause of this result. One exists only in relation to the other. All right? The result defines the cause and vice versa. But, wait a minute. This is logically impossible. Because if a cause doesn't exist until the effect, then how can the effect be caused? So if a cause doesn't exist, you hear what I said? The cause doesn't exist until the effect exists. Then how can the effect be caused? It already exists. You see? The effect is already there. So how could it be caused? It's there already. 1:8. Please, sir. A cause is simply impossible, whether its object exists or not. For if that didn't exist, what would it be the cause of? And if that did exist, then what would the cause do? Okay? So this is like, so now you're just getting fuel in your gas tank for that flexibility, that range of motion. You're just getting more fertilizer, okay, for more flexibility, more wisdom, and more compassion, more love, more ability to not hate, more ability to avoid and let go of anger, more ability to not give in to the idea, to the energy of anger, frustration, doubt, fear, pain. Okay, the understanding, and the more and more comfort with this, with the understanding of the process, allows us to relax a bit and be with the process, be in the process, instead of thinking that we can control the process, you know, or manipulate the process in some immediate way, but rather like relax. The only way that, and the only thing to do is to relax and to be caring and to be happy and to be available, open, kind, because that's what we want. That's what I want. And so how am I ever going to experience that unless I enable that in the process? Unless I establish that in the process. Okay? 1:8. So a cause that exists in any other way than conceptually and relationally is impossible. Okay? So now he's brought us to the point where he says, okay guys, we did it, right? I'm asserting, I've proved that a cause that exists in some other way besides a conception or, you know, a relation, or exists as relation in relation to other things, a cause that exists somehow different than that is impossible. Okay? For both existing things and for non-existing things. If a result exists, then there'd be no need for a cause. There'd be no need for a cause, since it's already there. Okay? So what would a cause do? Be sitting around like, you know, now I don't know what to do with myself. I caused this thing and now I've got nothing, really. If a result did not exist, it would be a non-existing thing. If the result doesn't exist, it's a non-existing thing, then what would the cause be a cause of? Okay? If the result doesn't exist, then it's a non-existing thing. So what would the cause be? And the cause is there, but what is it a cause of? There's no thing. Okay? If something is truly there, essence, like a cause, essence de cause, essential cause. If a cause is truly there, then it can't just become nothing. Something doesn't become nothing. Okay? An existing thing, nothing is the absence of something. Something is a positive thing, is a thing, right? An existing thing. It can't go into an absence of thing. They're mutually exclusive. They're entirely separate things. Okay? But, so necessarily a non-existing thing can't become an existing thing, and vice versa. Okay? So, but if the result is there, how can you point to something and say cause, because it's already done its thing? There's nothing for it to do. The result is already in existence, and it would have no need for a cause. Okay? So an example like this, is to say, so here's this. I've finished this. There. I have to have it empty of liquid to do this example. So let's talk about breaking the cup. I'm not actually going to break the cup. But so breaking of the cup, right? So there's once if I smash the cup right here, is there a cup anymore?
Yes.
In a sense, there is.
It's a broken.
In a sense, generally speaking, like I smash it to bits. Is there a cup there? What is a cup? What's your definition of a cup?
Yeah, there is no cup then.
It's not a cup anymore. It's broken pieces, broken ceramic, right? So the effect cause goes, smashes it. And there's no cup. Is the cup smasher, is the smashing of cup still in existence when the no cup is there? No. Okay, so how can you say So how can you say it's one is a cause? How can you say it's a cause if it doesn't exist? How can you say the result, no cup, exists when before it has been caused? So essentially, remember, I got to go back to essentially. Is there an essential nature to the breaking of the cup and the no cup and the absence of cup? You know, the destruction of cup. Is there an essential nature to those things? Does one essentially cause the other? Does breaking of the cup essentially cause the result?
Causes the breaking.
But when there's no cup, there's no more breaking of cup.
Right.
It doesn't exist anymore. It's gone out of existence. So how can you, it's a non-existing thing. So how can it, it's not there. So how can it be a cause?
Which thing's not there anymore? You breaking it?
Yeah. Remember, you're talking about essential nature. Like it's saying, the essential nature is like, if I break the cup, there's anybody standing up here breaking cups, there's an essential nature to like, that is a cause for the end of the cup.
Okay, how about another example other than the cup?
Okay, you want to do sprouts and seeds?
Well, whatever works for you.
So,
No, how about something where
okay, let me give you this. Let's go back to the definition of cause. It says an event or state that has in its power to bring about its effect and has that power as part of its essence or nature. That's the unchanging part. The essence of me. So striking the match is the cause of, striking is the cause of the lighting. Where's the striking?
doesn't exist anymore.
Doesn't exist anymore. So does it have an essential nature?
Not anymore.
Oh, it did have an essential nature and then stopped having an essential nature? Essential natures don't stop.
Oh, we're talking about ultimate.
Yes, we're always looking for ultimate.
Absolute, yeah.
Yeah, with Arya Nagarjuna, we're always looking for essential nature to it. You see? But we say, oh, striking causes the lighting. We say that, right?
The cause of the flame is the struck.
Yeah,
It is.
yeah.
But is he saying?
Cause, result.
But is he saying it isn't really?
Exactly. He's saying it isn't really.
It isn't really the cause.
Really. It can't
It
be.
is the cause.
What?
He's saying that the striking is not what caused the flame, so what is? Or is it that there is no is?
There is. But we'll get to it.
Okay.
Hang on there. Okay, 1:8. So then, okay, so 1:9, please, sir. Okay, it can't be that the thing exists. It can't be that the thing exists. It can't be that it doesn't. And it can't exist and not exist together. In this situation, how could the thing which made it, how can the thing which made it come about be called a cause? Something would be wrong if it were so. Okay, 1:9. A result that already exists can't have a cause because it's already there. The cause would be causing it. If it's there, it's resultant. It's caused. Cause is done. Cause is over. If the cause is in existence, it's working. The nature of the cause is to bring about the result. The nature of the cause, remember the definition, is like it has a power. Its nature is this power that brings about a result. Right?
Cause of the flame was the strike.
Yeah.
So then what isn't?
Well, think about essential nature of cause. The essential nature of the cause is like energy. It's like the whether it's striking the match or breaking the cup, it's the energy of this thing, this self-existent, it has this essence of being the cause for this. But once the result is there, there's no more cause. There can't be a cause. If a result exists, if
Result even exists?
Jenny.
I mean, there is no cause in the present because the result is existing, but there was a cause.
But go back to what we're trying to say is essence de cause, essential causes, essential results.
So he's looking for something that's causing the result ongoingly.
Well, something that is this. Well, we see the problem. The problem is that like you got to work on this because you say like your voice, my neighbor's voice, causes me irritation.
No. It's something.
But my mind that sees self-existent things, that sees essences, goes, that is the essential cause of my irritation. And you did it again. It's still going. It's causing. It's essential. It has an essence to it. And this result has an essence to it. Okay? So if it's like, once we think it's there, outside of us, independently, we think we go after it.
But it's not really outside of ourselves.
It's not outside of the process.
Conceptually
Conceptually and relationally. So the cause of striking the match does exist in relation to the effect. In relationally, or conceptually as a memory,
As a memory, yeah.
but not self-existently.
So now you're saying it does exist relationally.
Yes.
But not
It
absolutely.
just does. Okay.
Not ultimately, not absolutely.
Yes.
But even when the result is still there, I mean, even when the result is there, so how can there be a cause if the result is already there?
Yes.
What's the relationship then? Is it one of
Ideation, one of conceptualization. Only of conceptualization. No, not of essential nature. Okay? So he's undercutting our view of self-existence of these things. He's undercutting it so much, and then he's going to bring it back to say, but causes and results do function, don't they? They do appear to function.
I used to think so.
Well, hold on, because we can't leave the room unless we have a sense of that, because otherwise it's nihilism. Otherwise, it's that like nothing's there. And that is not the point at all that he's making, okay? It's a very subtle point that he's making, and that's why I kind of talked about it as an experiment, as a process, of getting used to this process. Because in a sense, Nagarjuna like takes stuff away, such that all of a sudden you're like, you have an experience of middle way, an experience of the appearance of things and an understanding of a lack of self-nature to them. Okay? The valid nominal establishment and the lack of inherent existence. Valid nominal establishment. You felt that. That's valid. Valid perception. Paper smack. Okay? But lack of inherent existence. There's no self-existent experience that just happened there. Okay? Well, another person's going to experience it differently. Another creature is going to see it differently. There's no self-existent. Okay?
Is this all really a sort of a very detailed study of the Buddha's words of with your mind you create your world?
Yes, it's in the same ballpark. Yeah. Yeah, the mind-only school picked up on that. The Chittamatra school picked up on that and said, that's what he was really talking about. Then the Madhyamikas and Arya Nagarjuna said what he really meant was that the cause, that mind is the main thing. Okay, but so 1.9, did we read this? So yes. So a result that already exists can't have a cause because it's already there. A thing that doesn't exist yet would be called a non-existent thing. That can't have a cause because it simply doesn't exist. Okay? No amount of causes could ever cause a non-existing thing because it doesn't exist. Okay? There's nothing to cause. And existing things and non-existing things are mutually exclusive, separate, so one thing cannot be both. So if the result is non-existent at the time that the cause exists, the cause could never produce a result because you can't produce a non-existing thing. And similarly, backwards, if a result exists, there can't be anything as a cause because it doesn't exist. A cause cannot exist by the time when its result is in effect. Okay? So there's something wrong with cause and effect. 110. Next verse, please, sir. Okay, we've proven this thing that appears to exist is something that couldn't be. But if the appearance didn't exist, then how could the thing appear? Okay, so I think he might be giving us a little ground here. So things don't exist the way they seem. Okay? Things don't exist the way they seem to exist. And that very fact is what makes them appear in the way that they do. The fact that they don't exist in the way that they appear. The fact that all appearances, everything, is like the image that we see of ourselves in a mirror. It is an appearance, but it is not appearance of me, but it is not me. Right? It is a reflection. It is an appearance. Okay? Like an illusion, like an image in a mirror, like a reflection in a mirror. Okay? Cups do come from. There's the noisemakers. Cups do knock noisemakers. So cups do come from cup makers. and not from car makers or some other cause. Okay? The appearance of connection between things is what Arya Nagarjuna is calling dependent origination. Okay? So the very appearance of things, reality, appearances is dependent origination. Okay? Causality, okay, causes and results before us is dependent origination. But the appearance does not mean that what is appearing is really happening. Okay? He's proved to us already that it cannot. Okay? Next verse. Since these things can never start, we couldn't accept that they could stop. And just so, and so the just preceding one becomes impossible. For if it stopped, how could it ever get to be a cause? Yeah, so now you're kind of like up on the ropes. I need to bring the squirt bottle out again. Right? You put on socks now and jackets. I froze you. Okay, so if causes and the results they brought about existed essentially, then they could never start because they'd already be there. Okay? If they existed essentially, they wouldn't be something that came into being. They wouldn't be something that started because they have an essence, an unchanging essence. They'd already be there. And if it didn't arise due to their own causes and conditions, if they didn't start, then they couldn't stop either. So if something didn't start, if it was always there, if it had this essential nature, it doesn't change. It doesn't stop. It's not going to stop. It couldn't stop either. If they could somehow stop so that something else could start, like a cause that has an essential nature that doesn't start because it has an essential nature, but could somehow stop so that the result can start, it would go out of existence. They would thus go out of existence. So, if they've gone out of existence, how could they exist? How could it be the causes and conditions for something? It's not there. If they go out of existence, how could they cause anything? If it stops, how could it cause anything? They don't exist. Non-existent things don't cause anything or do anything. They don't exist. They don't exist. Okay? Next verse. But if the very existence of a thing which had no nature, was said not to exist, if the very existence of a thing which had no nature was said not to exist, we then could not accept that basic tenet of events. This occurs because of that. If we deny that, if we say that things have no self-nature, things have no essence, and thus they don't exist, then you have to deny like a basic fact of our experience of appearances, that causes bring about results, that cup smashing brings about the end of a cup. You'd have to deny that exists. You'd have to deny that. Okay? So, are we saying that it's meaningless to say that anything is a cause for a particular result? Is Arya Nagarjuna saying that it's meaningless to say that striking results in lit match? Are we saying that? No, we're not. Is it meaningless to say that the cup maker makes the cup? Is it meaningless to say that the sprout comes about because of the seed? No. Rather, he is suggesting the opposite. Okay? The opposite. It is because things don't have an essential nature. It is because things don't have essential natures that they can bring about something else. It's because there's no essential nature to a thing that it can change. Because it exists relationally and conceptually. That's the only way it exists, conceptually and relationally. So thus it can fluctuate and change because it has no essential nature to it. Dependent origination, appearances, is made possible by emptiness. You see?
Emptiness of essential nature.
Yes. Lack of essential nature. Okay? That's emptiness. Lack of essential nature. Absence of essential nature. So appearances are made possible by emptiness. So I need a yoga block. Where are the yoga blocks stashed? I should have had this prop beforehand prepared. I forgot. Thank you, sir. Okay, so for example, block. Take so a simple example. The example of this block of wood. Okay, you might say it's you look at it in this yoga studio. You say it's a yoga block. Okay, my job, woodworker, furniture maker. My job depends on the emptiness of the block.
To be able to be made into anything.
Yeah. If it was essentially a yoga block, then I couldn't make anything else with it. Like all the pieces of wood out there would be like yoga block. That's all they would be. So many I'm so bored of yoga blocks. That's all there is yoga blocks. Or anytime a block of wood got to a certain size, it's like, oh, I have to make some more yoga blocks. I got to get more people doing yoga because I have so many yoga blocks. I got to sell these yoga blocks. But that's, if it had the essence of being a yoga block, then I could never make anything else out of wood or something. So, but all day long in my work, I'm taking raw materials and turning them into different things, depending on the causes and conditions that are at play at any given moment. So anything you do, any action you take, any object that you interact with, any feeling, objects are feelings, people, thoughts, sensations, everything is the same. There's no essential nature to it, and that's why you can do with it what you do. That's why you can access it. That's why I can take this and make it into a bowl. I can make it into a sculpture of a bird. Whatever, It's like the kids' book. This is not a box. There's this kids' book that says this is not a box. And all the parents, these kids got a cardboard box. And then the parent says, what are you doing with that box? And the kid says, this is not a box. It's a spaceship, and it has drawn on the next page his imagination of how the box is the body of the rocket, and there's the tip that he sees and all this, that. And then the parent says again, put down that box. It's not a box. It's an igloo. It's this or that, Because the box has no essential nature, then it can function. It can function. Okay?
It's a little harder to understand with your camera.
Mm-hmm.
part of a piece of furniture, but the hand is a hand is a hand. It could be used for different things, but it's a hand.
So the hand, the essential nature to the hand, like looking at the hand, your own hand, like, so does this have an essential nature? Understand that the lack of self-existence to this hand allows you to do anything with it.
Fixed.
Because it's not fixed.
But it's still, okay, so it's only a concept that we call this thing that we can, that's not fixed, a hand. It's just a concept.
Well, it exists. It exists conceptually and relationally to other things. It exists dependently on the arm, on the muscles, on the shin bones connected to the thigh bone. That song. It's related to everything else. If it had an essential nature, it couldn't bear relation. It couldn't bear relation to anything else, and you couldn't do anything with it because it would be essential. But you see, then you got to go back. You got to go back. Keep going back to the way we think, the way we see things. Like you did. You said, "But what about my hand? My hand seems there. That's my hand right there." It seems to be outside and have an independent nature. That's good. We can't understand emptiness unless we understand it in relation to an object. You have to see the self-existent thing to be able to take it apart and see the emptiness. You have to see the self-existence of the hand in order to remove it and recognize the emptiness of the hand. Okay? There's no free-floating emptiness out there. I like to say there's no free-range emptiness. Every object has its own emptiness.
So could you also say emptiness is potential?
Yeah, I like to say that a lot.
Yeah?
I like to say emptiness is availability, possibility, potential. Okay? But potential is the absence of restriction, is the absence of limitation.
So nihilism would say that emptiness means nothing.
Means that nothing exists.
And this, the middle way says that emptiness means there's potential. It's empty of fixedness and what?
Unchangeability,
That's the-
or what?
That's
Suchness. That's another term for emptiness. Suchness, emptiness, same thing. Synonyms. It's just different words for the same thing.
Because see, it's almost easier to understand when I first read the word suchness. Such doesn't carry for us what empty carries.
Yes, but
Empty carries like there's nothing there.
yes, but suchness carries a positive quotient.
Yeah, it's kind of like it is.
But emptiness is not, suchness, emptiness, ultimate reality is not a positive thing. Is not a thing. It's an absence of a self-nature. It's an absence of a thing. Okay, let's go on because we addressed that a little bit. So, we did this. Did we do that? If the cup is not found in its causes, if the cup, 114, if the cup is not found in its causes, but never, no, this is a new one, right? If, even though it wasn't there, it somehow came from causes. Why couldn't it come as well from things which weren't its causes? Okay? So, if the cup is not found, where's the cup? If the cup is not found in its causes, but nevertheless arises from its causes, so what are the causes of the cup? Causes and conditions of the cup. The cup maker, the ceramic, the material, all this stuff. Okay? You can't find the cup in any one of those things. Okay? But it does arise from the causes. The cup appears to arise from those causes. Okay? but if you can't, if it arises from things which are separate from it, then why can't a cup come from anything? Why can't these two meditation cushions and a piece of paper create a cup? So she said it's not the right causes and conditions. Well, the appearance, the point he's making is the appearance of dependent origination works around regularly occurring rules of causation. Okay? So you're getting something back here, Jenny. You're getting some ground back, okay? The appearance does work around regularly occurring rules of causation. So like comes from like, similar comes from similar. Cup comes from things that are related to cup. Okay? So even though it doesn't work the way it appears, the way it appears does have some order to it. Okay? Next verse. We're almost at the end here. Okay, since the nature of a cause is to give a result, causes have no nature of their own. What result could come from something that isn't itself? How could a cause have a nature? Okay? Results come about by causes. The nature of a cause is to bring about a result. That's what defines a cause, okay? But the cause is dependent upon the result it brings about. The very definition of the cause involves the result. So the cause for its very existence is dependent upon the result it brings about. So it doesn't have an independent or essential nature. It's dependent. It has a dependent nature. Okay? Therefore, results which come about by the power of their causes. So now we're talking about results which come about by the power of their causes get their essential nature from those causes. But those causes have no essential nature of their own, okay? Then there can be no essential nature to the result, right? Okay?
Well, the cup could still be pieces on the ground or ground up, could be dust or deteriorate into ash or...
But it's not a cup anymore.
Right. It's something else.
It's something else.
And really, though, they all were the same thing, they just had different concepts.
Yeah, because he said, at what point did the cup break and become not a cup? Is there an essential point where the cup broke and became not a cup? No, you can't point to a moment. It's infinitely divisible. So it's conceptually, at some point we decide the cup broke.
But there's still dust particles coming out from when it hit the ground.
Uh-huh.
This goes on forever, really, in a sense, right?
The process keeps going, yeah.
So, but back to the cushions and the paper, why can't those make it, what were you saying about those?
Well, it's not that it works that way. So it starts out saying a cup comes from different causes and conditions, like the cup maker, the ceramic, the machine.
Certain causes, but
not anything.
Paper.
Yeah, and it's not, and the cup, but the essential nature of the cup cannot be found in any one of those causes. So it makes you think, like, well, I guess the cup could come from anything. So the question, it bears a question, so could the cup come from anything? Since it's not found in any of its causes, yet it arises from them, can it come from these causes?
Can it?
No, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't, because
those aren't the right causes and conditions?
Because causation does work around regularly recurring rules of causation. Like it has to bear, it does cups come from cup makers, ceramic, and cup machines.
So there are
Relational,
causes and conditions that result
that exist relationally.
in relation.
He's not putting essences back in there, but the relationship matters. They exist relationally. So it's not just any relationship at all. It's not any relation, hoo-ha. It's dependent. It's all relational and dependent. Okay? So, now 116. The next one, please, Ryan. Okay, thus, 116, last one, thus there is no nature to a cause. But a cause without a nature couldn't have any result. And if it's true that no result exists, how could something be a cause that couldn't be a cause? Okay, if there's no nature to a cause for something, if there's no nature to a cause, then if it doesn't have the nature of bringing about a result, then how could it ever bring about a result? Essentially, how could it ever independently do that if it has no nature of doing that? How could it ever actually bring about a result? And if there are no results brought about by causes, then how can we say that a cause is a cause if it brings no result? If it brings about no effect? If it doesn't have the nature of bringing about a result, it can't bring about a result. And so if there are no results brought about by causes, how can we ever say there is such a thing as a cause? Why would you say there's a cause if there isn't a result? Okay? So there we are. Do you feel a little looser now?
Well, at 15,
You see, he didn't at fit well, but see that's Arya Nagarjuna's technique though. Is as soon as because see our mind, we immediately say, "Oh, I think I've got it figured out. Oh, let me put it in a box. Let me put it together and figure it out." When I was preparing for this, I was so aware of this. I would study it. And I would work on it, and and then I would come away and say, "I'm going to figure it out. If I could just have some time, I'm about to figure it out." You see, but like I said, wait a minute, that's my mind just wants to put it in a box and say, this is it. This is what it is. You see? But Arya Nagarjuna is not letting you do that. He's saying, stay with it. It's a process. Everything exists relationally, dependently. Okay? It never stops being that way. Okay? So you're now. And that recognition is, emptiness is there. Ultimate reality is there before us. When we relax into understanding that there's just process. We are process. It's just process. You can't speak of ultimate reality. You can't put words on it. You can't put concepts on it. It's absent. It's the absence of that. So it's an experience. It's now. You see? So like you have the texts, and we've gone through it, and now you can go back and think about it and study it and play with it, play in it, and let Arya Nagarjuna keeps like bringing you to this place. Okay? So
basically, Nagarjuna
Yeah, yeah. I think he would be on the side that there is no, there's an appearance, maybe there's an appearance of a Higgs boson. Huh?
I was just saying, apparently it could be ultimately.
Apparently there could be a Higgs boson, but there's not ultimately. Not it would exist in relation to. I mean, even it exists in relation to the perceiver of the Higgs boson. You know, like we like if the physicists come up with this concept of the Higgs boson, this irreducible particle. Like this is this conceptualization of the irreducible particle, right? I was reading my 6-year-old son, a comic book that involved Spider-Man and the Silver Surfer. And I didn't know about the Silver Surfer, but apparently he comes from a totally other universe and like sees dimensionally and, has this massive other conceptualization of multiple universes at one time. And so his operating system works on a completely different plane and is related to and dependent upon completely different circumstances than ours. So the Silver Surfer, flies by the Higgs boson, the cosmic molasses, and sees something entirely different. Because there's no self-existent, because it's dependent upon the Silver Surfer's thing. But.
So they don't get it, that it's dependent upon the observer?
No, they are very close. I mean, modern physics and middle way philosophy come closer and closer. But the crux of the standard mathematics, of the scientific worldview, is that there is a stopping point, that there is irreducible matter, the materialistic view.
And I'm saying, do these scientists think there is a final place we're going to get?
They're hoping for it. That's what
But there isn't, right? They'll forever be able to divide it again.
Well, they haven't given into that yet.
But that's...
The Buddhist worldview says yes, it's completely indivisible. They say, at the end of this article, it says,
Well, I don't get it, because even in calculus there's the infinitesimal, so I don't know why they're not open to...
I think they are very open, but they're still they operate on the principle that there is still some irreducible. Without such a mechanism, the standard model is the name of the mathematical core. Without such a mechanism, said so and so, the universe would be bleak. So see, they're falling into nihilism. Elementary particles like quarks and electrons would be massless. Atomic nuclei would still exist, but electrons would be massless. And so there would be no atoms, he said. And of course, no life. Not even physicists.
They fall into both extremes.
Yeah. Yeah, see, there's the middle way says like, it's okay, people. It's okay. There's like things appear because there's no essential nature to them. Things can work because there's no essential nature. Okay?
Well, you should just invite the Dalai Lama to go talk to them.
Well, they do. He does. They do. He's very interested in physics.
Then they'll never find it.
If you find it, then I'll revise.
Yeah. That's why I grafted from. Well, that is what middle way philosophy. That's what our philosophy does.
Talk to MIT scientists?
Oh yeah. The universe in a single atom
So
is
what if they
the.
all walk away saying it's BS?
Oh, there's divergent opinion. They have different.
I think they're calling it like the God particle.
Yes. New elusive. I think they called it in one of these articles the God particle.
They're really stressed out because if they don't find it, you have to eliminate.
It'll screw their whole world.
For 30 years, what the whole mathematics has been based on, and the worldview, the worldview. So let this. I hope this is helpful, and don't think that like, oh, I was supposed to get it all or understand it all. or grasp it all and not have to. It's a process. It's a relationship that you've begun to have now with Arya Nagarjuna, with this text. And so enjoy the process and nurture that relationship. Okay, and let it. Arya Nagarjuna's point is to bring us to a place of greater peace, happiness, care, and concern and openness for others, for everyone. Because so is there an essential me and is an essential you? Are there essential yous and other essential others? No. There's an appearance. There's an appearance of me and you and separateness, but it's only an appearance. We exist entirely interdependently. Okay? Entirely interdependently. Everything is caught up in this web. So it's working for your happiness is the same as working for my happiness. Is the only way I could be happy, experience happiness, is by making sure that happiness exists and happiness is encouraged and peace is enabled. Right? So let Arya Nagarjuna help with that. Let Arya Nagarjuna loosen up the hold that the afflictions have on you when they rise up. Let Arya Nagarjuna get into the ring and let him loosen the hold a little bit. Let the mortar in the bricks soften a little bit. Okay? All right? Because you're free. We're free. It's like right there. It's with us now. Right? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay? Make a big dedication of this work, this effort to you and reaching your big goals. Your biggest, most meaningful, happiest big goals. Okay? And that see everyone, succeeding. Okay?
When is the continuation?
The next one is it 2 weeks? I think it's in July. The flyer is at the door. So we'll look at the flyer at the door. So Rhonda, if you're still with us, Scott, good night. Thanks for being with us. And anyone else is on there?
Yeah, there's Ryan and Ivy.
Oh, Ryan and Ivy are on there too? Oh, good. I hope the feed broadcast was okay, and